Hi, I'm Tamron Hall, and I'm in studio with the Hollywood Reporter.
Tamron, it is such a joy to have you here today. Thank you so much for leaving your own studio to come and hang out at ours here at the Hollywood Reporter today.
It's great. You know what?
It.
When I pulled up, because you're in Times Square, and I was telling my team, like, I remember when you're 18 and when I was in my 20s coming to New York and Times Square and the smell of the roasted nuts and all that. Your journey takes you in so many places and so many unexpected twists and turns, and it just brought me to this kind of an emotional moment, remembering coming here broke and just looking around thinking I could probably, maybe, hopefully just get a halfway decent job there one day.
And here you are today. What a full circle moment with a second season pickup for the Tamron Hall show. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you feeling? Take me inside the moment you found out your show was coming back.
You know what, it's crazy. I grew up in a military family, so we're very keep your head down, and I didn't celebrate. It was more of, okay, let's get it. Let's do better. Let's get better. Let's do more. And that was really it. I got the call and I thought, okay, head down, work harder, work smarter. All of those things went through my head. I'm like, we're not in the end zone yet. No touchdown spiking yet.
Of course, a huge portion of your career took place at the Today Show, and that's where a lot of people fell in love with you. That's kind of where you first cultivated what is now known as the Tam fam.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think that time in your career has helped prepare you for this phase in your career, helming your own talk show?
Oh my gosh, you know what? Everything that happens to us for good or what we perceive as bad forms you to the person you are. I mean, 10 years ago, if someone had said, can you host your own show? I probably would have said, yeah, I think so. But I needed to go through what I went through, and people want to see how you survive a difficult moment. I say all the time, anyone wants to go to a fancy restaurant and have, cocktails that are $20 in New York, but it's the friends that eat the ramen with you, that you're sitting there commiserating over a bottle of Boone's Farm, and I've had that. Google it, kids, if you don't know what it is. But it's those moments, and so for me, I needed to go through that for the audience to really, I think, know me. As a journalist, we are reporting, we're not living our lives out in that way. And it was this pivotal moment where I think the audience saw the character of my personality and all of the things that I talk about, how I was raised and my Texas roots and that kind of like, let's get back up. They saw it in action, I think, and I hope. And that's led us to where we are.
You said that when you were let go from Today in 2017 that you weren't scared, but you were worried.
Yeah.
What would you say was your biggest worry at the time? And then what do you wish you could have told yourself, knowing the challenges that the show would face in the years that passed, and then also knowing how incredibly well you bounced back?
Oh, listen, I'm looking at the landscape and I'm thinking it's not forgiving as it relates to age. It's not as inclusive as it should be. So where do I fall in line? Where do I end up? And I remember my mother, she's so sweet, she said, you can always come back here and sleep on the sofa. And as sweet as that is, that's not what, you know it is. And I was like, Mom, I'm okay. But knowing that all of the work that I put in, all of the work that all of us put into our careers, and it ends up with your mom sweetly saying, you could still sleep here. It's tough. It was tough. And now looking back at it, as I said, I needed to go through that. And I think when we look at challenges in all of our lives, all of the doors that have been closed, every relationship you're in that doesn't work out, you know how many times I thought that was the right one and it wasn't? We all have experienced believing that it's our dream job or our dream relationship or the dream scenario that we figured, okay, this will work, and it doesn't.
Right.
You got to keep going.
What did you learn about yourself throughout that transitional period?
For me, I learned that I truly was willing to bet on myself. And I did not always know that, because we are all our 7-year-old selves. And I look in the mirror and I sometimes see the 7-year-old who, felt rejection, who felt insecure, who felt isolated. And at 48, I realized that with all of those things against her, I'm still willing to bet on her.
You have so much fun on your show.
Oh, yes.
But you never end up watching an episode of the Tamron Hall show without feeling inspired. It's just always so meaningful.
I hope that, we had Billy Porter on last week, and I've known Billy since I moved to New York, so it's like 15 years now. And he started his interview, as he did on many other shows, kind of that lively Billy, and all of a sudden he started talking about living in his truth and how early on in his career he wasn't getting gigs because he was openly gay and people wanted him to be a certain type, and he kept on, and once he stopped living a lie or living this view of what Hollywood wanted him to be, these doors opened. We were crying. People were like, oh my gosh. And then we had this house, Le Béjan, which is, Pose was inspired by this culture. And we actually had them on following Billy's interview. So you have this inspirational interview with Billy, and we talk about Pose, and then these are the real kids who get their chance to shine.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, that's when I ended that show, I was like, this is why I do this. This is why I do it.
Right, yeah, and when you get tears streaming down someone's faces, that's when you know it was a good interview, which leads me to my next question.
Sure.
How do you, I mean, what is your secret to a great interview, and how do you have this incredible gift for making people feel like they can just open up to you about anything, so how do you make them feel that way?
You know what, I think the key with anything is people want you to laugh with them, they want you to cry with them. They don't want you to laugh at them unless you're a comedian, Dave Chappelle or something like that. And I don't want to watch you cry. I want to feel that. So I try to lead with my heart. I try to lead with knowing everybody's gone through something. And we're all, as I said before, looking at our 7-year-old selves, no matter where we are. So for me, I want to go through it with you.
Right. You do have a lot of fun, but you're not afraid to tackle heavy issues, whether it's gender equality or domestic violence or whatever it is. When you were putting together your own show, you're your own boss, you make the rules. How did you come to that mix, and why is it important for you to talk to your TAM fam about topics like that?
Well, listen, I made sure I was executive producer of the show. When I was pitching the show after everything had kind of fallen apart, I said one of the things that I needed as a woman in my late 40s, somebody who's gone through what I went through, I need to be executive producer, because I know you cover Hollywood. You have an idea and suddenly you're like, I pitched a drama and what is this, a comedy now? It's like,
how did that happen?
And I would always use the example of Jerry Seinfeld. I said, listen, Jerry Seinfeld pitched a comedy. Imagine going away and coming back and it's a drama. You're like, hey, that's not what I pitched. And that happens because everyone wants to kind of tweak it. And I love the collaborative energy of our ABC Disney partners, but it was important for me to make sure that the show reflected what I felt and feel I can bring to the table, because I didn't want to come back with a show that wouldn't make you proud. I wanted a show that would make my mom proud.
Right.
Everybody who rooted for me, I wanted you to turn on the show. And by the way, it's getting better and better each day, and we're learning our audience, and we're learning the voice of traditional daytime television. And when we kicked off this year with the Oprah Winfrey interview, I mean, that was bonkers. I was like, oh my gosh. And she said, you know, this is what we need. And in that Oprah way, this is what we need.
And when Oprah's telling you that, that means so much.
It meant so much. So you know that you're on the right track, because people are people. In the end, we want someone who's going to root for us, because we want to root for each other. You know, it's the spirit of where we are right now.
What I also find so remarkable about the Tamron Hall show is that your staff is 30% women of color, and many of the key roles within your staff are occupied by women.
Yes.
Why was it important for you to facilitate that kind of behind-the-scenes representation as well?
The majority of the viewers at home in daytime are women, so I wanted to be conscious of that. I also wanted to make sure that if I was going to set a table, this is my table. I'm going to include people who've been left out, people who didn't feel that they had an opportunity. I have a female director, which is like, that doesn't exist, which is amazing in this business, because it was important. By the way, no one is there because of their gender or because of their color. They're there because they are bosses and they are the best at what they do. And I'm lucky that they thought enough of me to leave other jobs to come and join my table. But in the end, I tell people all the time, there are plenty of white guys at our table, because guess what? We need everybody. It's not based on anything other than the energy of inclusiveness. You know, if you set a table and everyone is welcome to the table, that is the best meal you're going to have. And that's why our show gets better and better each day, because we have this diverse group of people, not by race, not by gender, but by their experience and where they're from.
Season 2, have you thought about any changes that you might make? You got a lot is working right now, so I don't know if you want to change anything.
Listen, absolutely. We want to get bigger and better and grow every day. listen, if I think enough to change my hair, of course I'm gonna change the show. I mean, it's like it's evolving and it's becoming its own voice in daytime. And I think when we watch the show, we look at it like game day. You know, the next day after the big game, you watch it. I didn't watch my interviews for a long time. I never watched myself on TV until I started this show. I never watched myself.
Why was that?
Because I became self-conscious and you worrying about things that don't matter. So I wanted to always stay present and in the moment. So I would not watch the show. Well, I would say late October, I started watching the show as the executive producer, writing my notes, thinking how I could have done something better, what I should change here in the beats, not to become over strategic, because I want to remain natural and in the present form, but I needed to watch it as a coach. You know what, interestingly enough, I think the only way you can be good at this is to finally accept that you are you. And I don't aspire to be anyone other than Tamron Hall from Luling, Texas, who maybe wasn't the kid that people bet on, but she found a way to bet on herself.
That is very well said. Well, I think that's a perfect place to wrap up this interview. Tamron Hall, thank you so much. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for season 2.
I want you to come over and visit us.
Yes.
We'll figure it out. Let's make it happen. But
I would
I'm gonna have to
absolutely love
scuff
that.
your shoes up a little bit.
No, not my Ryan Seacrest sneakers. I don't think so.
Oh, yes! From now on, you're Ryan Seacrest sneakers.
Exactly.
You
that's
heard it
what
here
is.
first, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, well, until season 2 comes out, you guys can check out season 1 of the Tamron Hall Show by checking out your local listings. Thank you so much, Tamron.
Thank you. It's so sweet.